We're here at one of the restaurants in our small city, and we haven't been here in a long time. I'm thinking maybe 1 or 2 years at most.
Yeah, it's actually been more because we opened when they opened.
Yeah.
When they probably had like a couple weeks when they opened. So we came and tried it out. So today we're gonna see if they have new items. Let's see what they have. We're gonna try a couple of popular dishes that are traditionally Italian style. You know, what people order the most, like the chicken Alfredo, maybe the lasagna, a couple other items like that. So we'll see what appetizers they have, stuff like that, desserts, drinks, and all that. So
at that time that we came, we did not have the greatest experience, but we are willing to retry it, see hopefully if anything has changed since then, and have open mind about it. Hopefully, some menu items have changed, some flavors have changed, and we're hoping for the best. But we'll be taking pictures. We'll be letting you guys know after our experience what we saw, the service, just anything that we experienced during the visit. So we'll let you guys know. Bye. Hey, welcome to the Cook Nook. We are here to do a review on Bella's Italian restaurant, and we had about 4 different dishes that we had today, and so we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about them.
Well, hello guys, I'm Donnie Shellshock from the Art Talk. I'm joining here Angel Girl on her Cook Nook. So yeah, the first thing that we ordered was actually the meatball with the marinara sauce. You want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, the marinara sauce was a little bit, I feel like it needed a little bit more basil, a little bit more freshness into it.
The consistency was good.
Yeah.
I liked that it was nice and it wasn't too watery. Mm-hmm. It wasn't too thick. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think the flavoring did need a little extra oomph, something to push it over the top.
Yeah.
So
the meatballs themselves, I feel like they were a frozen item that were basically brought in from somewhere else, and then probably just put to bake, or just put into a saucepan to make them soft again. But other than that, I mean, it was really good. I like the flavors of it. They also gave us bread. Which I think was a very big improvement on their part, because the time before that we had bread and it was hard rock, like you were slamming it against the table, and it was there was no way to bite into it. It was literally just coming apart in our hands. So
the bread this time around, it was nice and flaky. It had a nice little, I think they coated it with a little bit of butter on top, which made it nice. But I would have wished they would have added some more to the bread itself.
Yeah.
Maybe something to dip it in. Yeah. I know that we've gone to Italian restaurants where they serve olive oil with some peanuts and stuff like that. It gives it a little bit of flavor to the bread itself, or even just a side of a marinara sauce onto it. Yeah, that would have been good, which we eventually ended up doing with the
we dipped it into the marinara sauce
with the meatball. They had a little bit of extra sauce that we could dip the bread into it. So yeah,
and then we also had lasagna, which the pasta had no taste. It didn't seem like they put any salt in it. It was very much flavorless. However, when I went into when I cut into it, I just basically tasted cheese, and the ricotta cheese, and the meat sauce. Mm-hmm. I felt like it needed more layers to it.
Well, I think they had enough layers in them. They don't think that they added too much stuff between the layers. I think that they missed out on doing, a layer of mozzarella cheese or some type of cheese like that, something that's a creamy cheese with the meat sauce and then the ricotta cheese on top, or vice versa. Also, like, they didn't put enough layers in between the lasagna itself. And like you mentioned, the lasagna itself did not have much of a taste. The marinara sauce, like we mentioned before, it didn't have enough of a seasoning to it. And if it doesn't have a lot of a seasoning to it, any other dish you make the marinara sauce with, it's going to be a little bit under, like, subpar taste. So we noticed that with the lasagna, although it did have the meat was good. The pasta didn't absorb a lot of that sauce, so the pasta lacked a little bit on that. So
yeah. And then we had the chicken Parmesan, which, oh my goodness, I think they hammered it to death even after it was dead. I mean, I'm more used to, like, when in the other franchise restaurants that we go to, I'm used to having like a meaty,
a thick cut of a chicken.
Yes. So you can taste the juiciness from not only just the chicken, but also from the breading.
Yeah.
And I felt like it had more breading than chicken.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was also really, really dry.
Yeah.
From this particular restaurant, it was very dry.
I think they overbake the chicken. I think that most of the time when you do chicken Parmesan like that, you want to, bread it, sear it a little bit on the pan, and then put it in the oven if you like. That just traps the moisture inside of the chicken. But the chicken was cut way too thin. Like she said, they probably just hammered it to death. I think a thicker bit cut on the chicken, I think would have made the dish a little bit better. This one did come up with a spaghetti and marinara sauce. And again, the spaghetti had no taste to it. It looked like they boiled it, put it on the dish, and they put the sauce on top. You never want to do that with pasta. You always want to, have your pasta and your sauce sort of merge together, dance together, do a little bit of,
so that the spaghetti gets a lot of the flavoring from the marinara sauce.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, the dish between the chicken parmigiana and the spaghetti on the side, I think they could have chosen a different type of pasta. I would have gone with a rigatoni or penne pasta, something like that. Even fettuccine would have been good. A flat pasta would have gone better than a spaghetti. Other than that, I mean, my son loved it. My son loved the spaghetti. He made a whole mess out of it.
He had it all over his face.
We made a mistake of adding a white shirt when he was going to eat pasta.
Yeah.
So let's just say his shirt now has a nice decoration.
Awesome. All right, so now we move on to the chicken Alfredo. What did you think about it?
Well, first of all, the chicken, same as the chicken Parmesan, it was cut too thin. I think it was a little too thin, a little bit over seasoned more than I would like. And just the fettuccine Alfredo itself, the Alfredo sauce was too heavy. I mean, I would have wished it would have been a little bit more creamier. Not too heavy.
Definitely, from my perspective, I thought it was way too peppery. It was very, very peppery. I think, again, I feel like they could have used a little bit more basil or a little bit of garlic.
Well, I think that the pecorino Parmesan cheese would have gone so nicely with it. Because the pecorino Parmesan, it's already a salty cheese, but it melts so well. I think that they missed out on that part of, keeping their sauce a little bit more creamier. And I think they went with more of a heavy side to it. Yes. Which, I mean, it was flavorful. You can't deny that it was flavorful. It was really flavorful.
And I was surprised that it had so much pepper. It didn't taste peppery. Yeah. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised with that.
And the pasta I feel it was a little bit overcooked, just because after it sat in the dish itself, it sort of became a little bit of mush. So it wasn't
too bad though.
That's what I mean. They overcooked it just a little bit.
Yeah.
I like it a little bit under, a little bit undercooked, so that when it sits with the sauce, again, because you're gonna put it on the sauce, makes it let it marinate together. You let that pasta and the sauce sort of combine themselves. And in this time around, I don't think they did that. They cooked the pasta, they throw in the sauce, and they sort of just mixed it together and served it like that. So
then our final dish was for our son, which was a cheese ravioli for kids. When they came to our table to drop off the raviolis, our waitress advised us not to give it to him right away.
yeah,
I felt like for a child's dish, they could have at least tried to maybe cook it differently,
Yeah.
and with like a smaller size,
Yeah.
perhaps. So
because
that
typically raviolis are like nice little
Little
inch
small
squares,
ones. Yes.
and then they're cheese ravioli, so you would figure they would be a lot smaller, little pocket size or something like that. But these were about 2 inches, 3 inches thick, which was good for me and for us as grown adults, but not for a child.
No.
The plate was extremely way too hot. I think they would have done a smaller versions of them, thrown them in the marinara sauce, put some cheese on top, and just put it on the broiler to melt real quick, and then toss it in the plate. That would have been fine.
Yeah.
That would have been fine for at least for our son, for a little kid. Toddlers, a smaller portions would have worked a lot better.
I feel like they could have made it kind of like they do with the spaghetti and stuff like that. They could have just boiled them really quick and just put a little bit of cheese. It melts within the heat of the ravioli anyway.
And then just put the sauce and then the cheese on top. It would have melted.
Yeah. Like it was too much. It was too much to actually put it into an oven and make it steaming hot for a 1.5-year-old.
Yeah, they also added a really thick coat of shredded cheese on top, and I think that's why they put it under the broiler so it would melt that cheese. But at the same time, it heated the plate.
Yes,
way too much. More than we were comfortable.
Definitely.
It
was. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was very, very cheesy. Again, I tasted a lot of the ricotta cheese, which was awesome.
The pasta, the same thing. It was a little bit under seasoned. I would have liked the pasta itself to be a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah.
Even when you cook them, I mean, you could do them in a regular pan, or even if you boil them, you can still salt or flavor your water with a little bit of salt, and that would have been fine. I think they missed out on that part as well.
And it was also not fresh. I felt like it was manufactured somewhere else, brought in frozen, and they just kind of took it out of the bag and just put it to cook.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that was fresh.
Yeah.
Also, what did you think about as you walked in, cleanliness, all that stuff?
Well, one of the things that we looked at when we arrived was at the parking. Usually that restaurant does have ample parking, which is good in case you got a big party that you want to bring. So the parking itself was good. When we walked in, we're usually typically, approached by a hostess or a waitress or someone
to
sit us down. And this time there was nobody there to sit us, which makes it awkward because you don't know who the waitress is going to go to first. So if you get there first, you sit down, they attend you or they attend the other people that were there. I know there was 3 young ladies that arrived there at the same time as us. They sat down first before we did, but we got attended before they did. So that usually, I mean, it wasn't that much of a difference of time. So I think they may be understaffed. Maybe that's the reason for that. But the lady was courteous. She wasn't that engaged with us, I think.
Yeah, no.
I think she was a little bit too distracted because we did notice that she had 2 kids there as well with her and a baby.
Yeah. When we walked in, we definitely heard the baby. I mean, obviously, we didn't know that they had a baby, but they had her in the back. I'm not sure where exactly. But then after a long time that we were there sitting down, she walked the baby into the kitchen. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that the kitchen is not the best place for a child.
Yeah, like I said, we mentioned before that we worked in the food industry. I've worked as a line cook. I worked as a cook. I even worked as a health inspector or health safety for one of the universities. So one of the things that we try and teach our servers or even our kitchen staff is don't bring children in the back because it's not set for children. You can make it to where it's safe for kids, but you got stuff in there. You got hot plates. You got stuff boiling. You got the fryers, the knives, stuff like that. It's not a really kid-friendly place. So that was one of the little things that we noticed that we would have not done it if we were in their case. We understand, COVID and everything has understaffed a lot of restaurants, and a lot of restaurants are struggling. But you never want to put your child's safety in that sense.
Yeah. They also had issues with flies. We saw a lot of flies.
Yeah.
The table that we sat on was a little bit dirty. When we walked in, one of the kids screamed that there was 2 tables that needed to be serviced.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there was a few issues, personal issues that also happened during the time that we were there. I just think they could be a little bit more, they could be fixed. They could be, the kids could be spoken to and be like, hey, let's just leave it till later, stuff like that.
And we understand this is summer. There isn't a lot of programs for kids to be involved with, especially if the parents have to work and then have to take the child to that program or anything like that, especially summer programs. So we understand. We understand why the parent had her kids there. Our hope was that, if the kids are going to be there, they're going to help out. They have to learn what, almost every waiter or waitress goes through. There has to be some type of training for them, even if they're kids. They're helping their parents. We've done it. We've worked with our parents. We know what it takes. We know how it goes, basically.
Yeah, and definitely. And also when we walked in, they brought us the menus, and not even a minute later, she's like, oh, are you guys ready to order? And I'm like, well, from our side, it's like we haven't been here. We haven't come to this particular restaurant in more than 3 years.
Yeah.
And so we don't know if there's anything new in the menu that we haven't seen it,
Yeah.
So we just courteously told her no, we're still looking.
Yeah. It usually does takes us a while to order, anyways. Usually we start with the appetizer, so we kind of quickly go through the appetizers first. We order our drinks, appetizer, and then we start looking for entrees to order.
Yeah. What I was very, very surprised and very happy to see was that our order was out pretty quickly.
Yes. Typically, orders take about 10 minutes. Appetizers take about the same time. Entrees take about 20, 30 minutes to come out. Yeah. Depending on the amount of people that they have there.
Yeah.
And this time around, the appetizers came out within minutes.
Yeah.
Not even 10 minutes in, and the appetizer was out. And probably a few minutes later, the rest of the food came out.
Yeah.
And again, there were certain things that could have been changed to, bring that quality of the food a little bit higher. Maybe a little bit extra time working on the stuff, and not push the dishes out too quickly. There wasn't that big of a rush on the.
Yeah, there was about 4 tables there.
Yeah.
And I noticed that they did have a lot of takeout.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, obviously that's really good on their part.
Yeah. And they ordered a lot of the dishes we ordered as well. That's what I noticed. I know that they ordered a lot of the chicken Parmesan, and they ordered a lot of the chicken Alfredo. So those 2 dishes is something that it's a popular menu. It's a popular menu item that people enjoy. People typically order at regular restaurants, Italian restaurants. So I was glad to see that those 2 dishes were some of the favorites that people were taking out. Like we said, that's why we ordered those dishes as well, because we wanted to try, what's popular in that restaurant. So
what I really didn't like, and that was literally my only option for me because I'm a diabetic, was the unsweet tea.
Yeah.
My unsweet tea tasted like leather and really like a metallic taste.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how to explain to the waitress, hey, my tea tastes like leather. Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it might need some cleaning, the machine. Usually when we were working at the university, I was always instructed like, hey, go get the tea bags, you know, and make sure that the thing is clean after after the day. So at the time that we were working at a university, they were very, very clean, very, up to date with everything. And so I was kind of disappointed at that, because I can't drink anything else. I had to order a Sprite because I couldn't drink my unsweet tea. Yeah. So that was the only thing that I was very, very disappointed on, especially from a person that cannot drink regular drinks. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was a pretty good, visit. It was a nice visit. Our son loved the stay and everything. So yeah.
One of the other things that we noticed was the pricing.
Oh yes.
The pricing versus the size and the portions of the food.
Yes.
Didn't kind of correlate with each other. We noticed that some of the dishes were too simple to be at that price.
Yeah.
There were some of the dishes that were too big to be at that price. Even like the cheese raviolis.
It was like $7.
Yeah, it was about $7, almost $8 for two. And I mean, yeah, give it, they were pretty big size. I would have loved that, see that on the appetizer side for that price would have been perfect. For a kid's meal, I think
for smaller,
I think smaller raviolis
for like $5,
$6, that would have been perfect as well.
Yeah.
Still cheesy, still with the marinara sauce. I think the price difference is a little bit that they need to work on.
Definitely.
But it's still, the food was overall was good. Our first visit, I think we rated the restaurant maybe at a 4 out of 10, meaning that there was chances for improvement.
Wow, very big chances.
Yeah. And this time around, I think we rated it at a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I saw it a little bit more around a 7-ish, and it's I'm not penalizing them for the tea part or just overall. It was a better visit than the last time for sure. And it was pleasant. It was nice. I liked it. Would we go back? I think we can.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the restaurants that we enjoy, because it's not something that we typically see here in our town.
Yeah.
We usually have, the typical burgers. We live near the border, so we're Mexican influenced food. So most of the Mexican restaurants that we have here serve exactly that, Mexican food. Burgers, American staple, food. And that's about it. There isn't a lot of diversity when it comes to the food. We do have a few Asian restaurants. But Italian, that's the only Italian restaurant we have that you would call it Italian restaurant.
Yeah, I definitely think there was probably a management change. I don't know if it was owner change also as well.
Maybe, could be.
But I know for sure in that the staff that we encountered was not the same as the one from the time before.
Yeah. And I think it had to do a lot with the pandemic as well. I think the pandemic laid a lot of people off. A lot of the restaurants that had, are just starting out like that, being understaffed, and then with the COVID and everything that happened, it really set them back even further. They're still hanging on there. And that's why one of the reasons we wanted to go, we wanted to show our support. And, we love Italian cuisines. We love Italian food. I love cooking it more than anything.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons we went there. So.
Yeah. All right, then. I think that was about it for this restaurant.
So Bell's Restaurant.
Okay. Well, I think that's for this review on Bella's Italian Restaurant here in our local little city. There will be a lot more reviews. We are not going to stop at just this one for sure. If you guys like this type of content, give us a like and subscribe. And let us know what other restaurants you guys have nearby we're in Texas, so that we can, go ahead and visit, all over Texas and see how every mom and pop stores or just small business restaurants, how they do, and so that we can let you guys know if, maybe they're worth it or if you should not miss it. So yeah, give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.